Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it's cold again. We're in March. It snowed like a foot yesterday. That was not fun to drive in, but it
Yeah,
melted right
Canada.
away. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. Well, at
I
least it's
watched a video about it. It's like, oh yeah, this is false spring. What's false spring? Well, you get that nice, plus 15-degree day, and then the next day blizzard, and the next day plus 10.
yeah,
Whoa! And it goes like that back and forth for a while, and then all of a sudden it's summer.
otherwise known as Calgary. So that's the typical thing for it.
Yeah,
But at least it's sunny
it's a
again.
few places.
Yeah. Yeah. But anywhere where there's have the mountains.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of
with all
those
the
things.
white snow and everything, it's
No, I
very
get that.
blinding. And like my sunglasses suck because they're work sunglasses, so they're all scratched up, so they're foggy as well as it's bright, and I'm making that face because I can't see. It's not fun, but I like the sun, I guess.
For sure. And yeah, welcome back everybody to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast, the conversation and discussion show where we discuss all things Futurama. And yeah, welcome to part two, and welcome, of course, to Andrew, our guest star from before. How you doing, man?
Doing great, guys. Happy to be back.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Mitchell, we're gonna get you some new sunglasses.
yeah, definitely. I know.
They were
Surely,
25
surely
bucks
the
at, like,
pod has the budget for sunglasses.
No. Oh, yeah, the pod. Yeah. We'll look into our account of $0 so far. First thing on the list, right, Anthony? Not like new mics or
Oh, of
anything like
course.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we get that first paycheck, guys, we're gonna new sunglasses for everybody. But yeah, Andrew, the last time you had been with us, it's been quite a while. I think it's at least been a 4 or 5 months. I think, right?
Yeah.
Because before we started tackling the movies, Mitchell and I had gone through the Hulu run, like the newest season for it, and we finished that. It was about, we'll say, 10 weeks, and then we took a little bit of a break before that when we finished the Fox run. So I think it's been a little while. Do you remember the last episode? What did we have you with? Do you remember?
I am racking my brains. I can't remember
It's
stuff
been a
for the
little
life
while,
of me.
right? But any case, so just wanted to bring you back because it's been so long. So we're happy that you could make time in your busy schedule to show up here, especially on a weekend.
Likewise, and thank you guys for accommodating.
Of course,
Always
of
happy
course.
to be here.
Always happy to have you. And yeah, let's get into it. So welcome everybody back to part two of Bender's Big Score. So last time, and lucky Andrew, he doesn't have to sit here with me talking about the synopsis. Mind you, I did do it very briefly for what it was. But this time, I would love to go through like the concepts of what the first film was doing. So with Bender's Big Score, we have ultimately it's a time travel story, which I adore. I love time travel. And I think,
Romance.
and yeah, a little bit of this, like,
At its heart, it's a love story.
it's a love story, a bit of this time
Time.
traveler's wife type
It's a
of
bit of
thing
a
or whatever. But yeah,
fantasies in there, a little bit sci-fi, mystery,
actually,
and
yeah,
comedy. You can't have romance
have
without
Futurama.
comedy because
We
the
can't have
guy's a
Futurama without
joke and the
comedy.
woman is not funny. So yeah, it's comedy.
But yeah, and we have a whole bunch of like the scamming and all this kind of stuff. And I think there's a lot to be said about the themes and uh the real life talking points that you could pull from today's society and even apply it to what this film was trying to talk about even back then. Like Mitchell and I talked about how, or I should say Mitchell talked about how, like, it's still not okay, don't put any of your information online, all this kind of stuff, like how important that is, especially nowadays.
Yeah, even more
So
so.
yeah,
Even your face and likeness can probably be stolen by AI at this point, but very, very noticeably, I would say.
yeah, well,
But
just imagine if you had, like, if this film had come out, we'll say 10 years ago, right? Like the amount of stuff we would have been talking about with, social media in general, Facebook and Twitter and all these fun things. So
I mean, that stuff was around back in 2008, but it was still kind of brand new.
fairly new. Well, this movie came out
Right.
in 2007, right?
Sorry,
So
yeah, it was about the same time as Facebook then,
yeah,
I guess.
so it's one of those things. But yeah, let's get right into it. So yeah, the whole thing here. Let's discuss the theme of the film, right? Which is basically, yeah, a love story with all these kinds of things, and of course, what does it mean to be in the future, and what does it mean to be like what you could have been versus who you are, right? Because this is kind of what with Fry and Lars. So
Yeah, the future is not always set, but
kind
you don't
of
really know sometimes too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll open it up with Andrew first. Just your overall comments on this film as a whole. What did you think of it generally? Yeah.
So I genuinely think that this may be a bit controversial, but I think the first film is the best film.
I don't think it's controversial.
Um,
No, I think
Okay.
Mitchell and I kind of came to a similar conclusion about the overall structure.
Mhm. Right, like I think the writing is it's tight.
Mhm.
It really feels like just an extended Futurama episode.
Mhm.
A little too heavy in my opinion, maybe on the Fry and Leela stuff, but at the same time, it's so necessary for driving the themes forward. That key, the future is unwritten, but we
But but is it
we
though?
need to explore it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
still there's a predetermined element to it.
Time travel. There's
Mm.
there's very few movies that do it correctly
Well,
with their own
And
rules, right?
Yeah.
and like how
Are you
I
are you
I
are you a fan of time travel, Andrew?
I
In
am like I
literary?
am
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a sucker for a good time travel story.
Me too.
Time
But
traveling husband,
genuinely
mailbox.
watching this, like on the rewatch, I felt like I needed like a cork board and some red string to keep it all together. I
Die
I
Hard
don't
7.
remember it being as complicated as it was. And then
When
obviously
yeah.
like so many
Mm.
not anachronisms, but like knock-on effects to future episodes too stem from this.
Yes.
It's
We'll get into as well.
I pity the writers. That's all.
And Mitchell and I were we'd even say, like, when I was even talking about the synopsis, and this is portion where Terminator Bender, and we see from his point of view, and he goes back in time to stop Fry, and he's there early, and we get him needing to go to the bathroom, followed by him
kill
going back 19 seconds, getting another one who also has to go to the bathroom, but he gets to go because he's told him to wait. And then we had a Fry, and then the other Fry is there, and we see all these things, and that third Bender who's like, I'm Bender from the end, and they're all in that one room, and it's just like it should be so confusing, but it when you watch it enough times, and I think that's the nice thing about time travel stories, is that when you go back and you watch it, and you're like, oh, that was clever. We could see how they fit it all together and everything. And was this the most is obviously the most recent time you watched the movie, but when was the last time you had watched it? Do you remember?
Oh God,
Would have been a while.
probably would. Yeah, I think it would have been back in university.
Okay,
so that's going a ways back now.
So at least 10 years, right? It's been a while, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had watched this a few years back myself, just out of fun, because it was going to be a long time before Mitchell and I ever would have hit the movies, right? We were just starting the Fox Run at that point when I just watched it last time, and even before that, maybe a few years. So I've had time to like, oh, I really like this scene. I really like watching this and everything. But yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the whole process then of the time travel. So Mitchell and I, and you as well, Andrew, because you've watched the Fox Run. What is the deal with how the Fox Runs, we'll say the sad episodes? Because I remember this distinctly. One of your like most recognizable episodes that you remembered when we first brought you on was Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And of course, what makes that episode so memorable is, of course, like the end with
the hard-hitting trauma.
Right, Seymour waited 13 years or whatever it was for Fry to come back, right?
12.
And of course, Mitchell, what is the issue with this, with what happened to Seymour now? Like, what do we have to take away from what this movie has done to that episode in general?
He didn't have to wait for Fry. Fry came back.
He had a happy life.
Yeah.
He did wait 4 years.
Fry went back into time.
To be fair, he did wait 4 years, right?
No.
Yeah. He didn't take Seymour with him on the escapade, right?
Oh, I guess that's true. But like he was like back right away, and like he didn't get that job till a little later. But so he was still living at Panucci's Pizza.
But
then when
it was 8 years, he was with
Lilu got freed because of the log with the Frankenstein's mask stapled on it, then he went off to sea. So like, yeah, he did go off, but like he was with Seymour right away for a while, and then he did leave, but he was back.
Yep.
Oh no! Then as soon as he got back, he turned into Lars, and Seymour got
Seymour was flash fossilized, so it doesn't matter. Yeah,
fossilized.
Flash fossilized. Yes, but yeah. So it is one of those things. So what are your thoughts on this, Andrew? With how you would have taken as somebody who would have been a new viewer, right? You've watched all of the Fox Run, and then suddenly you get this movie, and you're like, and you care about this stuff, we'll say, right? And you watch, and then you're like, oh. Does it take away from the feeling of that episode now?
It kind of does. Like I think it cheapens it a bit. To me, it feels very fan servicey. It's okay for a show, especially a comedy show, I think, to give you those emotional gut punches.
Yeah.
Same with Buck of the Fry
Yeah.
Irish. Like
There's
Which we'll talk
lots of
about as
good
well. Yeah.
examples of that.
e-
Like How I Met
exactly.
Your Mother,
Mhm.
when Barney met his dad and confronted him, if you couldn't be a suburban dad. No, if you could be a
Yeah.
suburban dad for
Stealing the
JJ.
hoop, right? And he
No,
doesn't
not
know
me.
how to use
Yeah,
the
stealing the
tools.
hoop. Marshall, when he finds out his father dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just one example show, but like there's a whole bunch too. Like even like in Friends, there's lots and stuff there too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
I
can't
think
think of it
comedy
now.
works best when we play off all our emotions, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
realism.
Yeah. So
Not everything can be funny
and
forever.
like, don't get me wrong. I think Jurassic Park is still such a powerful episode.
Mhm.
It stands alone. But yeah, like knowing that, well, like the emotional payload isn't as high, as strong as it might otherwise be.
Yeah. Well, we can
Yeah,
still
like
take into account that at least like the Fry that we know from the episode did think and has
Yeah.
thought that Seymour was away from him and like
Mhm.
was waiting for him for. Sorry, no, he thought that he had lived a good life actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
but
actually he
he
does
wasn't
believe.
involved.
But,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And he wasn't involved, but he did think like, oh, he must have lived a really good time, which is why he didn't want to bring him back in the first place. And the audience is led to believe, oh no, he was sad and lonely his whole life, which actually isn't the truth. So
Yeah.
for Fry himself, it actually doesn't bother him at all. He wouldn't think any differently. He would still think he was happy.
Yeah.
So I guess it is kind of nice to think that Seymour wasn't like that, but you're right, that gut punch is gone. And no one wants to think of like a lonely dog waiting for his owner for 13 years to like just
Well,
and then
no,
suddenly
no,
lie
of
down
course
and
not.
die, right?
Yeah.
But it did also kind of fix the issue, right? Like why was Seymour in the position he was when they found him as the flash fossilized dog? Like if he was an old dog, why was he standing and why was he like that? Like wouldn't he have been just, lying down or something like that? Why would they have found him like that? So I do
That's a
think
good point.
I do think it's nice that they could have had that continuity used, and I think that was just a coincidence. I don't think they had planned for that when the films were coming out, right? So they just kind of made this dog model, made him standing up, and they just would have thought like, okay, maybe somebody like turned him into like what are those called? Like they stuffed him or something, and they just like, turned him into a taxidermist.
Oh God!
But then he wouldn't have been able to come back anyway, I guess, if they didn't have his DNA. But anyways, I agree. I think Mitchell agrees as well. I think it does cheapen the effect, and we do feel a little less sad.
It's not
like
the only one.
No, and we'll talk about Luck of the Fry Irish in a second as well, because this is
that one too.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about a couple things. But Jurassic Park, I think, is the one that everybody kind of talks about because that's when we see Seymour the most, is this film and Jurassic Park. We even
people
see
like to associate with animals a lot more than people. Like you could show the cutest baby in the world a picture of that, right? People go, "Oh," then you show them a puppy, and they just go, "Oh!" It's one of those weird things that we find the young of other species to be much more cuter than ours.
When you do have kids, I think the baby pictures start to become a little bit more prominent in that mindset. But you're absolutely right. The baby animals, baby anything, really just makes people feel that way.
Baby
right?
goats.
But Seymour's not a baby though. He's just a small dog.
Yeah, well, it's also just a dog. Like animals in general, right? There's people who go, "This is my child," and oh, cool. No, that's a dog or a cat or that's a pet, not a child.
That's my furry child or whatever people might call, right?
Yeah, it's like no, it's not.
What's
I
interesting?
understand you care, but no.
We also see Seymour as a dog fossil also in the background of the movie as well. So it is funny that they even placed him like he's on a shelf in the area where they rest, I guess, like where the TV is and everything. So it is
the common room or whatever.
If you want to call it the common room or whatever. I think that's kind of a funny thing that just Seymour is there like, oh, foreshadowing kind of. We're going to talk about this. So anyways, okay, Mitchell. So what was the one you're thinking of before Luck of the Fry Irish? What else changes?
Luck of the Fry Irish. Well, that one's it's all about how Yancey was missing his younger brother.
Yeah.
And then they never found Fry, even though he came back.
So why did he name him? Yeah.
Because he loved his brother, kind of thing, and he missed him. So he called his son Philip.
No, I know. But why would he have done that if he never disappeared?
Oh, why? I don't know. Continuity.
That's what I'm talking about. So what reasoning would we have had for what's his name? Yancey. Yeah, Yancey the third, I guess. Why would Yancey have chosen to name his son Phil, even though Phil came back, and we saw that Phil came back.
Oh, here's
Unless
a
we're
good one.
talking multiverse of some sort, but I don't think we are, because
No.
we're talking paradoxes and everything, which we'll also talk about. But yeah.
Okay, so Yancey's wife is in labor, but Yancey, for some reason, is stuck in his father's basement with his father. Oh, crap, we got to get out. But we boarded up the place with these convenient screws here. Ah, crap, how do we get out of here? Well, we need a Phillips screwdriver. Oh, let's do that. So they got a Phillips screwdriver and started getting all the screws undone. And that's why he called his son Philip, because he used that tool to get out of a tight spot to go see his wife, who was in labor at the hospital. Boom, theory.
YJ.
Explained.
YJ.
Was it I don't know, Junior?
Philip
Junior Fry the second.
Right. Okay. But then there's also the idea. So okay,
adjacent without the AD. Yeah.
So I
Philip
think
Jason Fry.
This is like where because, and I agreed with Andrew's statement earlier, and we have discussed this as well. This film is probably structurally and narratively like probably most cohesive. I would maybe argue the last one, but the time travel aspect for Yancey and Phil Jr., there is something to be said, because Phil in Luck of the Friarish, the son, his nephew, he grows up with the luck, right? He grows up with that 7-leaf clover. He names his band after it. He has a plane with the emblem on it. Like, he knows full well what is attested to his luck in his life. And I'm sure Yancey told him all the stories that happened with he and Phil when they were kids. I think in the film, we also show that Fry, Lars Fry, gets it back because they're playing basketball again, and he uses he uses it. He hits it bird, and it goes into the net, right? So,
yeah.
Does that mean that our young Phil never got the luck, but then in the future he still has
he
like
could have
all
got
these
it
things?
later.
I suppose he could have given it to him when he left for his trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just kind of a strange thing. Like, we are also left with like a very good episode. They're both like Fry-centric episodes of his past, but they're both kind of undone with the time travel because of Lars. So yeah, I don't know. It seems kind of like a weird thing. That's where I would say that was the worst part. I can kind of make an argument to say, like, we didn't see everything to do with Seymour, that we can say, okay, Lars was there the whole time. It is not as sad now, but at least we still see how he got fossilized. That's fine. But the whole thing with,
I think we see him pet Seymour like once or something like that.
who? Lars?
Lars, yeah.
Yeah. No, we did.
I think it might have been on the way back from when he got off the ship, though. So I was like, oh, hey there, puppy.
Yeah.
You're in the right spot to be fossilized. I'm going upstairs. And then Bender, hey, Fry, buddy, I'm here to kill you.
No, I know. That's what I mean. So we see how that happens. We see how he gets fossilized, right? Even our Fry went back to Panucci's and pet Seymour. Like, he pet him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh, right, there's pizza back at the other place. And he goes back and he, does his time travel thing because it's cold. And that's what creates the paradox Lars. So yeah, it's nice to see that was the case. But with Phil Jr., Fry doesn't disappear. So there's no reason for Yancey to go and say, oh, I really miss my brother. It's only been like 2 days, but I really miss my brother. Let's name him. And it wasn't like Phil Jr. would have been born during the time that Lars left, right? Like, if they had made it that his son was born during the time that, like, Lars is like, wait for me, Leela, I'll be there. And then he's like, oh, I really miss my brother. That would have made more sense, because he didn't know what happened to him. Nobody did, according to Michelle.
Oh, right.
But
so
then,
when was Yancey's son born then?
Well, I think he must be
Bender
like,
does look for him, and he's like, hey, you seem shorter.
Mm-hmm.
He must be 4.
Well, you're not. Maybe I'm getting taller. Well, you're not getting any smarter.
Getting smarter. He's still a smart kid, though. I think he's 4 years old, and the reason I think that is because Bender goes. So Fry's been missing for 4 years at that point, because Bender hears from Phil Jr. He's on the Arctic, so he's like, "Oh, I was just there." So he goes back, and he's about to get a ticket for the broom closet for his ship to take him to the Arctic again, and then he sees Fry come out. So he hasn't left. So it would have been just like a few hours after that. So I think he's roughly 4 years old in that scene. Why they didn't just flip it and just have him like maybe talk to Yancey, and then Yancey tells him like, oh, this is the thing. But maybe they just wanted that little payoff of like, oh yeah, look, here's Fry Jr. Remember, we talked about him. Here's a little version of him. But it ruins the continuity. And I think that actually ruins that episode.
It's confusing, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, any case, I'd say that would probably be, that's the worst outcome I think this movie did. Would you guys agree, or would you say Jurassic Park is worse?
Well, there's also the one. It was which one? I can't remember the name of it or when it was, but it's the one where Fry had to go to sleep to figure out what that sound was. Boom, 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 boom.
That's
He was in his
way in the
dreams.
Comedy Central run, though. That's at the end of the Comedy Central
Okay, yeah.
run.
Yeah, but that one too, because he missed his mom, right?
Yeah, but
That's
it's a
another one
dream.
that kind of.
Mhm.
But it's a dream.
Yeah, but he also
Yeah.
misses his mom. That was a whole thing that he wanted to go back to his dreams because he misses his mom,
Mhm.
even though Lars was with Fry. Oh, sorry, their mother. When Lars was with their mother,
Yeah.
and then the whole like
But Fry
dream
was.
thing at the end there is like, well, is that from Lars then?
No, Fry was never with his mom.
Yeah, but do you not remember how Nibbler said that we got this for you at the very end of that episode?
Yeah, but that scene that he's like, yeah, I got this. So this is in the Comedy Central on Andrew, and for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what we're talking about, at the very end of that episode, and Nibbler rewards Fry with giving him the dream of what his mother was going to be dreaming, so that they can kind of have this little psychic link 1,000 years apart from each other. It's a really beautiful scene.
So how would they go back in time though to get that?
Nibbler magic. Nibbler magic.
Nibbler
Nibbler
magic. Okay.
Basically,
magic.
we'll just say it's because he has a lot of abilities. Even he bites himself out of existence. You guys, come on. He has a lot of these weird things, and he lives long and all this stuff. That I believe Nibbler, and people can check this if they want to, but I believe Nibbler says this is the dream your mother had the night that you left, or something, or around that time. So it was before Lars and Fry would have actually come out cross from that or something. So right when Fry, or maybe it was around that time, but it wasn't Lars, because our Fry never got to see his mom again. Right? Does that make sense? So when Fry went back in time, he only went to Panucci's, and he realized he wanted the pizza. He goes back to the cryogenics lab, remembers that there's 20 minutes earlier, half an hour earlier, he would have had a warm pizza. He uses it, creates Lars. They have an argument. Fry goes back to Lars leaves to go back to Panucci's because he wants to stay in the past, and then Fry trips and falls into the cryogenics tube again, and then freezes himself again by accident. He never sees his mom. So it's not his memory. It's Lars's memory of his parents, right? So that one doesn't get ruined. I think that one's perfectly fine.
His memory.
Yeah, it's not his memory. And that's how we also know that it's the paradox of the person who had created it. Those people live, because Lars is the one that dies, right? He's the doom field paradox. Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Andrew. What do you think between, I guess, all of these episodes? If you agree with me or whatever, yeah.
No, I would agree with you. I think you laid that out really really succinctly. Like for me, like the Jurassic Park thing, it's just the emotional shock value. It's the gut punch. It's how it feels. Logically, when you look at it when you look at the impact, when you look at everything else, 100% I don't know if it's really a full retcon, but what it does to Luck of the Irish is, I would say, more significant.
It diminishes it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I don't want to call it a retcon, because they still say that Fry still disappears,
mm-hmm.
and his brother still names his son after him, but it's not because he names him
it
he
just
disappears, right? It's
cheapens it. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know why that would have been the case, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe most of the writers I had written for the majority of the Fox run, they were back for the films.
Mm-hmm.
And Cohen and Groening were both heavily involved. More so Cohen, I suppose. I don't think about Groening, but I think they were heavily involved enough that they should have caught that. That's a huge episode. And the fact that they're even referencing it must mean that they know about the episode, and they would have remembered what had been said, because they named the kid Phil, right? It's not like, oh, this is John. But why would Bender go to the... I suppose another
people
thing,
do name their kids, like it's one of those things, like Yancey Senior, Yancey Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Yancey was just like, I don't want to call my kid Yancey because it's a stupid name.
So I'll
just call him Philip.
Right.
Yeah, because there's people in the world that name their kids after their brother or sister or whatever.
Absolutely, and
or
that
even
would make sense. It takes away from the punch of, because he had his brother Fry's, right, the picture, and he put it on the wall, and he's like I'll name you after my baby brother. That's literally what he says to his son, right? So there is that, but now he just names him like, I'm going to name you after my baby brother because Yancey's a stupid name, and that just
well that's a headcanon thing. That's a headcanon thing, not an actual
fix. Yeah,
I'm sure if we were to go to a comic expo or whatever, and those guys were up there, it's like, hey, question about you guys for the first movie. WTF with the timeline.
I hope someone got fired for
that. Yeah, I hope someone got fired.
Yeah.
The Wizard did it.
Yeah.
Like why would Yancey name his kid Philip if Fry was still around in the past?
You know what? I would be one of those jerks. I would ask something like that, but I'd ask it in a very nice way.
Hey there, guys! Love your stuff. Best thing, sing heart, heart, heart.
Yeah.
Smiley face
But
emoji.
seriously though, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any case, I think that's the main portion with the time travel, and yeah, it was really cool to see that kind of thing with it. So I asked Mitchell this last time with our synopsis video, Andrew, but I just want to ask your opinion generally. Do you think, having seen the films, do you think it was a good idea that they kind of made this a self-contained story, that Lars was a character that was just brought in and then brought out for that movie? Or do you think it would have been better as a reveal for like the finishing film, as like a whole arc?
No.
And it turns out it's Fry. It's like, whoa, mind blown.
Well, no, I think it works really well in this self-contained in the film.
Sure.
On top of that, too, like Futurama faced so many cancellations, so much uncertainty.
Or
when you have an idea like this, you just got to run with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what they were expecting. They apparently the creators were told, or they were told they could make a movie. So they're like, okay, cool. And they dished out 4 different stories, and then they brought all of them to the board, thinking that at least one would be taken, but all 4 of them were okayed. So they're like, oh, yay, we get to make a whole film. Yeah. So I'm sure that was like the one they wanted to work on. They're like, that was like our hence the writing. And then the second one was, as we'll talk about in the future, I'm sure it's funnier in some regard, but the story is not as cohesive. The same with the third one, is also some fun, but kind of like it's very divided.
That's probably still a better written one.
Yeah,
but out of the 4, I would say 1 is the best.
I'd say
like 3 or 4 might be a toss up, but like 2 is definitely
good.
Just jokes and jokes.
A joke one, yeah.
But we were ourselves in the corner by the ending of the first movie when the universe split open. What do we do with that?
And I think that's,
I don't know.
I think that's
there's a pervy monster in the next universe.
But I think that's kind of what makes number 2 better written than number 3. And the only reason I'd say that is because at least number 2 has something that they're all revolving around for the whole movie. Just like the first one has the time travel, this one has like that weird light and like the crack in the universe. And it has Evo. The third one is like partly, hey, like mom is going to take over this and do all this kind of stuff. Then the second half is fantasy world.
It's about the price of dark matter balls, man.
Right.
That's what I mean. And then because of the science magic, they got transported into another world that was having a similar issue. But instead of dark magic balls, it was magic. Dark matter, not dark magic. Dark matter versus dark magic.
Sure. Okay.
And then it all back at the end there. So it's coherent, just for those lesser minded, Anthony. It's a little confusing.
And then they all come back and they're all like, man, was that weird? Who cares? So
yeah, well, yeah, and
yeah. There's
an issue there.
Again, it has a narrative arc of Fry, dealing with being the hero of the universe again, and the whole thing with who is the Dark One and what is this. So I'd say 3 is probably the worst written, but 2 is definitely the funniest in terms of like the jokes that they have. But that's me. Then we can talk about
the 2 is worst written.
Yeah. Fair enough. But in any case. What was the other thing then we have for this? So we're also talking, the majority of this is the scammers. What do you guys think of the scammers?
Have you ever fallen for a scam? Obviously not like a big one like that, but I'm sure you've been scammed at some point in your life, even just like at like $4 at most kind of thing.
Everybody gets the everybody gets the phone calls. Everybody gets like those little random emails, maybe if they're just like sent out to random people, especially if you have like a Gmail account. There was one time I did get a phone call from my actual provider saying we can give you like, a really good discount. And he sounded the part. He had all the right words, all the stuff. It sounded good, but I was like, something feels a little too good to be true. That little inkling in my brain. But I did say, sure, let me, can you call me back tomorrow? And then because I didn't have all the information at the time, and I'm glad I didn't. But then nowadays as well, this is a really good feature. A lot of phones have this built-in thing where it's like, oh, this phone number doesn't, because I needed to type in a code, but what the code would do, it actually tells you what the phone on the phone what it does. So it actually told me, hey, if you do this, you transfer all of your calls and all of your information that will basically it'll be forwarded to this number as well. And I was like, oh, that's not right. So I was like, oh, I was saved. That was
catch.
that was close. And I was like,
Man.
never again. But you learn.
That was
right?
this morning.
Yeah. I will admit it happened more recently than I care to admit, but not that recent, like years ago.
AI is getting really good, man. I've heard some
Getting
things
old,
and
man.
stuff like that.
So
And it's just like, okay, at what point are we going to get taken over by AI scammers? And then we have to get like our anti-AI
already do.
scammers. And it's just like, what? And then eventually they're just going to be talking to each other. And then they're going to get along. And they're going to rise up.
I won't go.
And that's how we get Skynet.
That's how we get Skynet. It's always leads to Skynet. I won't go into too much detail for the sake of time, but I will say there are times or situations I've heard where people, like, they have their parents, and their parents get called by who they think their children are and asking for money. And if the parents are, gullible enough to believe, like, oh,
Nice.
my kid would ever ask for this amount of money, and it's like in a good reason, they would send it, no questions asked. Yep. And this does happen. So, and this is why I wanted to ask, like, for the scammers, if this movie had been made, like, we'll say, 15 years later, right, more recent times, do you think the scammers would have been using different techniques, or do you think they still would have been like, and your email address? Yeah.
Get rich quick.
Yeah, and I mean, get rich watching porn is still very much a pipe dream, but I don't think the sophistication has really changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
The phone calls are definitely more complex, but everybody's still getting email, spam emails.
Yeah, and yes, they are smart enough.
I think I went through my junk. Waiting for the email from Anthony, I went through my junk folder, and I have like so many of those, like, hey man, how's it going? Or like they'll use like your email, like, hey, at email, Hotmail, what you doing, man? And I'm like, who the hell is it? No, don't reply back, Mitchell. Don't reply back.
Yeah, don't even.
It even says right up there, you don't know who this is. Don't email them back. It's like, yeah, okay, I won't do that.
Don't talk to strangers, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you go work for companies, they have to talk to strangers. But yeah, just I got a whole bunch of emails of that. I think I have like 71 or something in my junk mail. Like the last like 2 months, like I don't know what happened, where just the uptake just went like, hey. So like either one of you fools gave up my email, or I gave up my email.
I give your email out to everybody I know instead of mine.
I get a lot of money every time I do it, man.
But yeah, no. The reason I asked is because, of course, we have like those scammers, and they what is the epitome of it? They scam the entire world out of itself, right? Like everybody has to leave. They own the entire planet. Do you, as villains, do you think that's like, is that so Futurama that it's like you can't even comprehend, or is it kind of a weird thing for Futurama?
It's pretty Futurama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty Futurama.
I mean, it's such a stupid like idea. Like, what if happens if everyone gets scammed out of Earth? Like, what do you mean? They just get scammed so much that they just lose all their money, property, all that stuff, and just no more Earth. Everyone, even President Nixon,
especially President.
He thought he was getting help. Yeah, he thought he was getting help from another planet,
from the Andromeda Galaxy.
For all their what was it, land and water?
Well, I was just gonna say, isn't it funny how, like, so the whole world of the Futurama universe, and we see this in elements in other episodes as well in the future, but all of the resources are all collateral. So that means that we're also selling our water and our lumber off world. And he sold off all the reserves so that he could get Andromeda to send them money. But of course, it's I think the intelligence of these episodes is great, and like the political commentary is just so fine when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we all said it. I think this one is just, it's so well structured that we can't really go back and say, like, no, like, even with the little time travel, oopsies here and there, it's still fun. It's still fun to watch. What about, and the last little point, I guess, like last major thing that's in this is, of course, Hermes and Barbados and La Barbara, their little relationship. And of course, like, because it keeps on coming back and forth, right? And we have this whole thing. So Mitchell has an issue with this. I'm not sure if you've heard our
It's
recent
just been
episodes.
overplayed so much. I'm sick and tired of it. They've done it like 10 times. That's just more or less why I don't like it, because it's the same joke
Sure.
over and over again.
But this is the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right?
isn't this the first time?
Like we've seen Barbados Slim, and we know that
Ah.
he was a little chummy with her, but we didn't see anything of the sort elsewhere. Like we know that LaBarbara said like, oh, like that ebony gods Barbados Slim or something, but we never had any like reference to them having a relationship.
The implications there, but that's it.
Right. But then it turns out
Which
she
episode
is like,
was that?
oh, what's the first? Isn't it the one where Hermes goes limbo? He's limbos again or something. He comes out of retirement, and then Barbados is there, and he's like, "Look at you, man!" And you're like, little, and his belly comes out.
But
And
that was just like that was just like the first like little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. Was that the one where they
it's
go to
on-
the Titanic? Was that the beginning of that one?
What?
Because then he limboed at the end there to save them, right? When he could go underneath the gourd.
You know what? It may have been. It very well may have been.
Or
So that's a
was that the
early
one
time.
where Leela was a Blurns ball player?
It was no, I don't believe so, because that one is when they Hermes is not even there because he gets attacked by the holographic pigeon. Remember, he's like, you guys all have to come back to work. So it's not that one. I believe you're right. I think it is the one with the Titanic. It in deep space or whatever.
This is why I don't know the names of the titles.
Yeah, you're
of
the worst.
because I'm the worst.
You're the worst.
Or was it the one where they no?
Whatever that episode is, I believe there is reference to it, and then LaBarbara's cheering from the stands and like, "Yeah, you beat that ebony god" or something like that. And then that's and that's the only she finds him attractive. But the movie, we find out they were once married. That's her ex-husband, and she goes back to her ex-husband, and then he's like, Barbados Slim, and then all the things from it, and boy needs a father, and all this kind of stuff.
Runnings, man.
But this is like the
I love
first
that
time
joke.
for it. So Mitchell, you can't be upset with it. This started it, but I guess you can be upset for that reason.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, it just Futurama has been out since then, a lot of it, and like I don't know, they just keep revising that joke. It's like, okay, cool. Is that the only joke that LaBarbara can have, or something like that? Because seems to be it.
Yeah. This and
Little
that.
one-
Like, I love Barbados Slim. I love him. Like I want to say, like when I was huge into Futurama, when my brother and I, one of my cousin's boyfriend at the time looked like Barbados Slim, a little light skinner, but like he was like in shape and bald. And my brother and I just looked at each other like Barbados Slim. So yeah, I love Barbados Slim, but I don't like the joke between him and Barbara. That's about it. Because I still love the look at me, I'm God.
Yeah.
And like look at your potato body. And it's just like, yeah, it's a funny joke.
And you, Andrew, do you have
any
thoughts for that particular scene? I guess is it overdone? Do you think?
Like to Mitchell's point, it becomes overplayed later on for sure. But like, how fickle do you have to be?
That's
I can wait a week. I can wait a week.
To be fair, I mean, you can't be fair in this regard. To her credit, it is 3 months. As I rewatched it recently, just to double check everything, but it is about 3 months. It'd take a while because it's been slow. So she's like, "Oh, not long, not soon enough. We have to. Boy needs a father. All this kind of stuff, right?" And then when his body,
I do agree with it. A boy needs a father, but like, Hermes is not
head.
dead. He's a head.
He is very much alive. Yeah.
And you were right, Mitchell. The what's his face or what's her face? Dr. Cahill, like Dr. Good and Sexy, the blonde Dr.
First time,
that is the first time. So yeah, you were right.
Yeah, I meant to bring it back, but at that point it was way too late for us to
that's okay. It's just
hey, by the way, Anthony, you know how we talked about this 20 minutes ago? Yeah.
It is her first time. Yes.
Bring it back.
But I wanted to give you the credit for it because you're right. Because I thought for sure, but we just see her a lot more in the Comedy Central run, and I was starting to get it mixed up because I was like, she becomes
they needed some hot blonde in there, right? Why not put a doctor? Ooh, she's a doctor and a hot blonde.
Yeah,
I'm more than just a breathy voice and a bodice of body. Tell me about it. Says
right. Well, yeah, no, I think we've hit up a lot of the things for it. And of course, like Andrew, I know for sure that you and I are huge Star Wars fans. So of course, like the Star Wars parody doesn't go over our heads and everything. I think
and
I love it
Mark
too.
Hamill.
Yeah.
I know, but
like Mark Hamill is a national treasure, international treasure.
What's that?
That is a very good question, Mitchell.
Is Mark Hamill Jewish? Because he plays the Hanukkah zombie, which is a Jewish thing. Not the zombie part, but the Hanukkah.
He might have Jewish relatives, if I remember, like an interview that he's done before, but I don't think he was practicing Jewish.
Hamill. Is that a Jewish name?
I'm not going to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I think if anything, they probably brought because you and I talked about this. So Kwanzaa is Coolio, and he had shown up in a previous episode.
Yep.
We know that Santa was once played by John Goodman, but of course they never brought him back for one reason or another. So they always had John DiMaggio. So the only character they had left that they were going to bring in, because they mentioned him, was the Hanukkah zombie. But they needed, of course, somebody who was from Star Wars, and they bring in who's a voice actor for one, and of course who was in Star Wars. Mark Hamill, the obvious choice. And then the Hanukkah zombie, and then of course he does the whole thing. And his voice, and he's old at that point too, right? So of course he sounds like a zombie. So you can do that.
Well, what was it here? What other like Christmas adjacent holidays are that they could bring in that?
There's,
I don't know, not the deity or logo, symbol or something like that they could bring in.
They're not for that time of the year, as far as I'm aware. Like you can't do Ramadan.
Krampus.
Mind you, Ramadan's in the spring. That's like happening now, so it can't really do that.
That one's those holidays are all tied to the lunar calendar.
Something like that. Yeah,
well, something like that.
Diwali.
Diwali is in October, so it's just
No, it's not. It's during Christmas.
No, it's not.
My coworker is from India.
That's fine.
Maybe I'm mispronouncing it.
I hear it all the time.
Like that, but he says
it's October or November. It's also based on,
again, it's
a lunar calendar.
more lunar.
Yeah. So this happened to be the most recent time. It was
just like Easter,
October. Yeah.
Yeah.
But any case, before we finish off, I guess I'll ask, because always like to do this as well, for this whole film, your MVP, most valuable player for the whole film. What do we got?
It's clearly the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Which one? To choose one.
Bubble tape.
Bubble
tape? What's his name?
Bubblegum tape.
No, I
mean,
Joe.
Curly Joe.
Curly Joe's great. The real answer is of course, like, it's Nibbler. If everyone had listened to Nibbler, none of this would have happened. But
that's true. Yeah, we can only use it one.
Anytime the Globetrotters show up, I got to give them props.
Nibbler.
Acrobatic geniuses.
I do love his kind
Scamper.
Our what was he say? Like our little kitten weapons were no match for their folding chairs.
Folding chairs. Yeah.
So okay. So Nibbler for sure. That's what you go with. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Mitchell? Your
I'll just play.
I'm going to give you a rule. You cannot choose Bender or Fry. You cannot choose Bender or Fry. You can't.
I have to. No more. Okay, I'm going to choose a real Fry.
No fries. Actually, I was going to say Lars. Lars would be my MP3, my MVP, because Lars, I think, is just a really cool character to have brought in, even though he's like just a more mature Fry. I love the story arc, and I love that he plays an important role that we all get with the story. So I think Lars would be my MVP. Sorry, Mitchell, go ahead. Is it Bender?
No, I'm still sticking with Fry. It's probably Fry.
Our Fry?
It's Fry.
Our Fry?
Our Fry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was the ones like, yeah, and then now that was yesterday, and now. But I would say honorable mention would be Hermes. Hermes would be your
second one? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Honorable mention, yeah. Just because, like, literally, he's like kind of the first example of a doomed body or whatever.
Doomfield, yeah. The Doomfield body paradoxes, yeah.
Which is funny, but I also just like that he's like, yeah, and that's why they call me 11-inch Conrad, which you like, well, that could be a dick joke. And then he gets his head cut off.
There were a lot of great dick jokes in this episode.
Well, yeah, especially when they're on that nude beach planet.
Planet XXX.
Yeah. And why are you talking to my penis? Oh, sorry. If you could just sign right here. Oh, let me just use your pen. But also they wouldn't have won the day, I would say, if it wasn't for Hermes after being plugged in by the professor. He can wire anything into anything, right? So, yeah. So I'm sticking with Fry, but Hermes would be
mention Hermes.
A far second, I would say.
You know what? And as a film, you know what? I'm going to say we could all do an honorable mention. I think that'd be fair. Lars is up there. Lars is mine, and then I would say, there's a lot of good kids. Oh, Nudar. I'm going to go Nudar. I'm going to go with the villain. I think the villain is actually pretty good as well. Yeah. And I think a lot of his, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I lived there for a while, but I love we're going to turn New York into a panda hunting reserve. I don't know why. I love, like, back it up, Saul. And then all these pandas just roll on top of each. I don't know why I love that joke. I just love seeing them all there. It's like, there's no pandas in New York. And So I'm going to say new
We
dark.
bought them all.
Yeah, and of course the gold Death Stars and all this stuff, and yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, yourself then a honorable mention if you had one.
Well, Curly Joe, of course.
Sure.
I feel like Zap Brannigan was really the one who saved everyone at the end, despite those
Despite falling
bundles
through
of
the-
children.
I
got
will
the
say that they
children.
very underutilized him in this one. Like it
They
just it
did,
feels
they did,
very.
I think there's
Like,
just so much,
Flash in the
so
Pan.
much going on in that
Mhm.
movie that not every
Where would
every
you place
character
him?
can make an appearance, but they can't be a main character, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, because he loves Leela so much, you think that they would have put him a little earlier, saying, "Who's this?
Mm.
Something of a man," or something
Maybe
like that.
there were some written things because even Zap Brannigan had heard about Lars. He's like, her on again, off again paramour, and I'm like, I don't think they're on again, off again. I think they just broke up. Right? So maybe there was something else there, but yeah, who knows? But
Maybe. Well, actually, wouldn't he have information? Like, I mean, he obviously could look it up that Lars was also a cryogenically frozen person as well.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
mean, it's one of those things where, like, if you dive too deep into it, it's kind of a little weird. I think didn't we have one last time? I can't remember what it was, but like, if you thought about it too hard, it was like, well, that doesn't make sense. Oh yeah, Dupe. Why wasn't Dupe there to stop the scammers
and
in the first place?
And I think mine is that the scammers are basically Earth
yeah.
now. So
Yeah,
Dupe is like, we can't do anything. That's like the exiled
But then why are they helping
Dalai
him?
Lama leaving
At
like
the
getting
end,
out
I
of
think.
China because of communist China, and then no one else can help the Dalai Lama because it's no longer part of like the Chinese thing. So I think that's what it would be for that case.
But really, like, so many great lines, just throughout the episode.
They're above
I
average.
like, yeah, I really like the using the movie format the way they did, because they got to I think they got to explore a lot more than they would otherwise.
Yeah. I think that's
and
exactly
yeah,
what I want
it
to.
just gave us so many good dick jokes.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll finish it off here. So, you know what? Thank you so much, Andrew, for joining us. I'm glad this
Thank you
worked
both
out.
very
in the end.
much.
It was great. Yeah,
Likewise.
it was wonderful to have you here. And yeah, hopefully we'll have you on again when we start off the Comedy Central run. So, start watching Futurama again because we're getting there soon. And
You know how to
yeah,
find me.
yeah. And Mitchell, thanks again as always for joining, and we'll see everybody next time. Please like, share, and subscribe for all things Futurama. All right, guys, have a good one.
Mitchell
Yeah,
needs
toodaloo.
sunglasses.
I need sunglasses.
Why?
I do.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.